All right, how's everybody doing today? It's strange talking to a microphone in a room like this. I feel like I can just be me because I'm loud and have a projecting voice, but it's good to see everybody on Friday at CRS. My name is Clay Walker. I'm the VP of Content Operations for Odyssey. I think, personally speaking, got the coolest job in America in radio because I get to try new things and see really cool things happen with our radio stations, our talent, our brands, our network offerings. Hi, Katie Neal in the house, by the way, from Katie and Company, our premier product and show across not just Odyssey, but many country stations. Get to work with her and her team and really serve our listeners. At the very end of the day is all that really truly matters and what we're doing in the broadcast and radio business. Thank you guys. I'm really excited to see that there are people here in spite of Jelly Roll being down the hallway. Why did you come here? When Jelly Roll getting Humanitarian of the Year, so understand that like incredibly humbled that you guys came to talk about AI with me. And in the description of the session is really some rapid fire AI tips and some tools that you can take home and use. And I want to share some things that we use at Odyssey, some of our team members are using, and things that I personally have gotten into as we've been able to experiment really for the last 5 and 6 years, trying to figure out ways to make our operations better, our stations sound better, our users have less of a overwhelming day of trying to put all the pieces together. Because frankly, we could tell the machines to do a lot of the things that just were time sucks, and we didn't have the time to be creative and do great things on the radio. So without further ado, and here's a great part, all this information, there's going to be 2 takeaways. This slide deck, if you're down for it, with some audio examples, as well as the hit list with a quick punch list of all the things that you can take home with you on the way out. So I'm going to start with my #1 favorite. This is about synthetic voice. If you haven't used 11 Labs yet, it is an easy way for you to quickly create voices. And it's really how it started. It was like, I can make a voice out of thin air, do text-to-speech. Well, now it's text-to-speech, it's voice cloning, it's pulling a voice out of thin air. In my case, I like it because I can make radio imaging really, really fast. And if you're a recovering voiceover artist like me, I could actually scale myself to other people and say, look, you can use me, and you could not have to wait for me to turn copy around in 48 hours. You could just slam the copy inside and go. But to take it a step further, I'm interested and bullish in the idea that we can do radio imaging, and I can say this as a voiceover guy, I could do this by pulling voices out of thin air and make really great sounding radio imaging. Here's a couple of examples from the Odyssey Stoneworks department.
Open up your ears and swallow. New music now on Rock 103.7.
I'm throwing it back. Throwing it back. For real. Go back. Back in the day. It's a real throwback.
And it just stopped like that. Those are voices that pulled out of thin air. That was Maya at the back end of that, who we wrote a really cool prompt. And we said, hey, I want something that sounds like the streets of St. Louis. I want her to feel like she's part of the fabric of the radio station. And we got Maya. The one before that was Stryker. Stryker's a rock voice guy. He's got attitude, and he's edgy, and he's got all the good things to make a rock station really swing with swagger. We prompt it. We then write the script, we get the output, and we get what sounds like great radio imaging. And what I think is even cooler is Maya is really me talking back to 11 Labs in the tempo and the tonality that I want. I'm not Maya. I don't have that swagger. I'm not cool like her by any stretch of the imagination. So you can do sound effect creation, and now you can transition and translate. You can do video creation, and you can be your one-stop shop for creating eye and ear catching content.
On the all-new 98.7.
She just likes to be the last one to have the first word. That's how
Open
that
up your
goes.
ears
So,
and swallow.
Wondercraft is my #2. It's the AI commercial builder. You can make quick spec spots. You could give it to your salespeople. This is a quick shot out of it, but literally you prompt it and say, hey, I need you to write a commercial about this thing, and it comes back with not just a prompted script, but it gives you script, voice, sound effects, music, the whole 9 yards in a final package. It's good for video and for radio too. I'm going to say these spec spot creators, give it to your salespeople so they don't come to you asking for, hey man, I think I might get this lead for Jones Tire and Auto, and they might buy. I need you to take half a day to write a spot and put it out there. Man, that's a time suck. Put the power back to the people. Same with Spec AI. There's a number of these guys out here. Great spec spot, shoo off your favorite salesperson, and get going with it. I'm also going to say this for my 30 ribeyes for $30, folks. SpecMate is another great spec AI generator. Fast and dirty who, what, when, where templates, and instant concepts for quick client pitches. Because if you guys have worked with salespeople, or you might be salespeople alone or on your own, The creative really does sell, and it's the final thing. You go in with a schedule and you say, my station's #1 and it's ranked here. Their eyes glaze over and go, that's great. But then you play an eye-catching or ear-catching audio, they go, oh, okay. And you close the deal on the spot. Suspect makes a great one. Radio Cloud is probably a great automation, and it's a great syndication tool, and it's got a lot of AI things for voice tracking, and there's so much more. In fact, Kristen Brenner's here from Radio Cloud, who can tell you all about it after the case if you'd like to find out more. But what I like about this is that in my screenshot is an example of Throwback Nation Radio from a dear friend, Tony Lorino. This guy's on 1 million radio stations across America. Syndicated content and syndicated radio shows, Misconnected Tissue, the connective tissue of talking about your brand, talking over songs, and talking about your radio station. Tony does one version of his show, and you can see actually on the screen what's highlighted is his tag for the local affiliate radio station, into the voice track, into the song. That's one of the many things that tool can do for you and give you affiliate targeting. Very awesome. From the same people at Radio Cloud comes News Cloud to do AI newscasts with multiple versions and localized news. So you could say, I need a national news from a national news network, but I want a local story aimed at Minneapolis and Atlanta and New York, and it will automatically put all of that together and distribute it to your affiliate. Big fans of that work and all the things that are coming along. So let's talk more about the creative things, because we're all creative folks trying to connect with our audience. If you want a parody song in a flash, or in this case, in my example, is maybe I want a specific jingle for a very specific use case. You can create synthetic music completely pulled with ones and zeros in the cloud. They're free and paid plans together too. So you gotta check with your legal friends first before you start throwing this stuff on the radio. I'll say from our perspective, in the place I work, this is a no-go, but you may have a situation where you could find this to be useful for you in that situation. But Udio Suno is the other in the world of creative. That way you could get in, get the things done, and rock and roll here and use AI to get it done. Always check with your legal department when it becomes airworthy in public. So, that's a lot of AI tools in 1 minute. There's 30 in 30 minutes. Am I going fast enough or not too fast?
Perfect. Just right.
Just right.
Just
I'm
right.
highly caffeinated this morning, and I'm almost 2 years sober, so I have not partaken in any of the things that will make me lethargic this morning. So, pardon me. Let's talk more about the creative things, because I talk about time sucks, and again, Katie Neal's in the room, and I see Kelly Ford in the back too. Both do amazing stuff on social media. Huge part of what we're doing now and how we connect with our fans and come in, but the time suck comes to editing those videos. Katie, your videos are wonderful. You have Kane Brown in the studio, and it's, you've got the best parts of those shows. Tools like, or those interviews, tools like Descript are how we get those things done. This allows you to drop your video in, edit the video via text. You don't have to know how to use Adobe Premiere or Avid or have a PhD in video production. You can automatically remove filler words, you can do fast production, and before you know it, you have scroll stopping video, and you edit audio like a Word document. Matt McAllister from the Morning Wolf Pack at 100.7 The Wolf is a great example. Another one that does amazing video work using these tools. If you're in the Google camp, at Odyssey we are Google users, we have Notebook LM. Again, you pull things out of thin air and you feed Notebook LM with some facts, and you can generate a podcast out of thin air. It's really interesting because I come from a hometown of about 5,300 people, and there's never anything going on. There's no news coverage because it's a very small town. So I was experimenting with it. I was, what if there was a 30-minute show that told me about all the things that were going on in city government? I fed Notebook LM with all the transcripts from the city council meetings. It's like watching paint dry or listening to paint dry if you were to listen to the actual meetings themselves. But in a minute, they had a 2-person podcast about what was going on in Buchanan, West Virginia, from all the shady things going on in city government. Notebook LM is a really cool way to create podcasts from nothing, feeding them in really interesting sources. I talk about news and weather and traffic because those are really big things that have been pulled out of a lot of our operations. People still want to know what's happening. If you're in a smaller town where there isn't a lot of media, and they're definitely, if there are, you're getting it from a big city, it's really difficult to target your town, and you may not have the resources to get it done. Audio.co is a really neat subscription-based tool for your radio station to provide weather, news, traffic, and live reads for your station, for your market, for your audience, generated on your schedule and exported to automation. You give it sources. You say, hey, I got a partnership with a local TV station. Here's some things in Google keywords you could go use. And next thing you know, you've got a concise traffic report for your market or whatever. Very interesting and very scrappy. Adobe Podcast next on the hit parade, because look, if you're out on the street and you don't have one of those really cool little road mics that you see all the influencers carry, and you got all the wind and the noise and off mic stuff like this, you can feed your audio into Adobe Podcast and you get really great studio quality back using AI to fill in the gaps where the audio was, a lot less lacking and that sort of thing. So far, those are in no specific order my creative tools. Of the 30, we divided this up into 3 columns. Can I keep going? I like chat a lot. I like chat because, as we saw in the last presentation about writing great prompts, over time, when you start feeding chat tools and chat AI agents, it's really, when we say AI, that's what most people think. It's chat GPT. True, but there's a lot more to it. But with the chat tools, we can feed in, and it starts to really understand what you're trying to do over time. And the example I use here, I'm using ChatGPT to really help me dial in some really interesting features on radio. You talk to it, you share your secrets, you get help if you need it a jiffy. ChatGPT, you can plan your road trips, you can ask parenting advice, you can plan your next radio show. In this case, my example is for a classic hits radio station that needed some feature content, and it knew enough about, because I was asking a lot of questions about it for classic hits. I was like, I would love to do a this year in music history feature, and I just want to load it up for the rest of the year and let it automatically schedule in automation. So it said, great, here it is. Here's a journey through the decades of the 1980s with something that you could give on nearly every day of the month of something noteworthy, and it was written for the radio station. The other example I use on the screen is, I'm having writer's block really bad, and I'm trying to write swagger imaging for my country station. So it gave me 15 country lifestyle sweepers, and after a while I started going, hey, it sounds really dumb and it sounds really hokey. Can you make it sound like how it's, give me this attitude of the target we're trying to reach? And over time, ChatGPT helped me get there. This is your always-on show prep assistant, by the way. That's the OG. My new favorite chat agent, because I've made a transition career-wise from being a day-to-day program director and day-to-day talent to being a nerd for Odyssey. So I do a lot of trying to develop workflows and programs to help my day get a little bit better in my team's day. Claude is another great tool that helps me get that job done. If I need deep thinking work, if I need to dive into research and understand what in the hell is going on with something, with this giant blob, or I need to write software. I was working on a project for a radio network that had a very specific thing it had to do. Within 10 minutes, I had the tool written with Claude. Very cool, you ought to check it out. It's a little bit more on the pricier side, but compared to ChatGPT, but if that's in your lane, you should probably get there. Perplexity, in a similar lane, if you need fast, accurate show prep, real-time research, Perplexity is Google, but smarter and sourced, so it'll tell you where it came from, and you get less slop. Because AI slop is really what's going to ruin the internet and ruin us. Notion AI, if you're unorganized like me, just again, come out of creativity and working into a more linear line of work, this is how you get your creative world under control quickly with a workday workflow buddy. That was written by AI, by the way. I'm not that clever. Notion AI. So jump over to Jasper, marketing folks, record promotions folks. Use this powerful engine, better target your customers, follow them through the channels they use. Because boy, I hate wasting time where there's not ears and there's not eyes. This is going to help you get there. Speak to them the way they want to be spoken to, using rich data from your CRM. Everybody knows everything about everybody anymore because data is out there. Why not take that data and use it to your advantage to be better and faster? For our programming and creative folks, you have a hard time writing social posts and trying to get that target to keep above the fray in the algorithm. And you're trying to get the attention on Instagram and TikTok. get great social media content every day. But looking at a blank screen, lean into copy.ai, great killer copy and promo copy. That's my chat fun. Lots of chat, there's new ones every day, they get better every day, so this day and this day, those are my faves. Video, this is where radio's going. I will take a breath eventually, Jim. You said 30 AI ideas in 30 minutes. I'm halfway.
You're doing
All
fantastic.
right. I think this is probably my favorite thing about AI and creativity, because we don't have to be Steven Spielberg. We don't have to jump out of, have expensive budgets, have people jumping out of helicopters, to have really great, eye-catching, very funny, very specific videos. Runway ML, one of the very first user-accessible AI video generation tools. Did they use this one? They played with it? You gotta check it out. It's Will Smith eating spaghetti. It's Wilford Brimley on Larry King. I don't know if you've seen any of those videos. Or maybe my feed is very unhinged. Could very well be. You can use this tool to generate images and video out of thin air, upload your best clips of your show, get a cool output for your social channels. AI video, less slop. Pictory, same thing. Script to video, quick promos, storyboard control. I want to go back a couple of steps where we were talking about the legendary Katie Neal and her short videos and editing for our audiences on Instagram and trying to find the best thing. Content generation is fun, but content editing sucks, right? It's hard to find the thing that's going to hook people back in. Opus Clip helps us get this and bridge this gap. You let the machines and the robots take over the hard work. So Opus Clip takes a long form stream. For example, this is WFAN in New York, the greatest radio station on the face of the planet. Not that I'm all unbiased by any means. All of your stations are great, but I'm a fan. We feed it a live stream of WFAN in our shows. It goes back and transcribes what was going on at WFAN, and it uses algorithmic search to figure out what was going on and what's popular on social media. And it'll come back and say, hey, I think from what you were talking about, that these are the best moments for you to get the best traction on social media, and it'll start clicking. So you take your long form stream of your morning show, your artist interviews with Kane Brown, your whatever this is, and your post-show podcast, create eye-catching, algorithmically precise IG, YouTube, and TikTok videos. And I specifically aim on those three because each one of those algorithms are different. What works on TikTok doesn't work on IG, what works on IG doesn't work on YouTube. This is smart enough to tell you, yeah, this is what we should do. And it actually is giving you the description of what should go in the post itself to know what it needs to do. And it's also grading this. Hey, this is 99 of 100, and it's got an A on hook and value, and it's trending. So you're not wasting your time with stuff that isn't going to get content or get traction. Opus.
Yeah, and of course everybody talks about baseball being America's pastime and all of that and the history, but I mean, really, as we sit here today in 2026, there are other countries that care more about baseball and have better players than we do.
For a lot of these players, it's a way out of poverty.
Yeah.
You have to remember, this is their life.
Yeah.
You know, they grow up playing baseball. If they're lucky enough, they get into one of these baseball academies.
So all of this transcription and stuff is automatically generated and added to the stream too. So it's another thing you don't have to do. You should subscribe to the WFAN YouTube channel. It's incredible. Canva, I think a lot of you guys use Canva, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Dude, this is where it's at, because remember how hard it was to build social media images because you had to know how to use Photoshop, and you had to beg somebody in your market to buy it for you, or hopefully you have a hacked version somewhere, not that I'd ever do anything like that. Now you don't have to do that. Graphics, video, easy design templates, and it's out there for the world to see without the major barrier of putting all that together. Canva for video and for that. Remove.bg backgrounds. You know what? There's a lot of photos of me in the background from CRS this week of your pictures with great artists and great people. Get rid of me easily with remove.bg. Drop your images in, say goodbye to Clay, and I'm out forever. And now you got an image with transparent background to do whatever you need to do for promo images and that sort of thing. Okay, we'll take a breath and talk about Sora. Anybody using Sora yet? No? This is from pulling crap out of thin air and making oddly specific videos about oddly specific things. It might be more of my unhinged love of social media. It might be the group chats that I'm in, but I'm sure there's a way that you could use this for your show. Rewind a couple of years ago, this guy in this video is a friend of ours, a colleague, Dan Hardy. Dan Hardy is the program director at 99.5 The Mountain in Denver, Colorado, one of our wonderful classic rock stations. He is an early embracer of AI and has an unhinged personality like me. 2 years ago, we bought new studio equipment for the Denver market, and he was so excited to get new boards. And I kept joking with him. I said, Dan, do not spill anything in those boards. You'll not get another one, and you'll be off the air forever. Don't do anything. And out of the blue, after the install, he sends me this.
Let's wake this thing up. Oh, that's a lot. Uh-oh. No, it's sparking. Hey, oh my, it's on fire. Maybe this will oh, no, that made it worse. So much worse. It's a torch.
This is one of probably the calmest Dan Hardy videos I've ever received because, again, unhinged. This is a prompt. We have created Mr. Rogers rapping on 102 Jams. We've created, just for our tech support people, really dumb, specific tech support issues dealing with users, all the way down to great content on. Again, check with your legal department before you go put this out on your socials. But if you really want to make sure that we could go out and have fun, try Sort It Out. It's a cool app, and it also has a feed that you'll get sucked into a lot like TikTok and everybody else's weird things. Dan has actually put himself in the Sora world, and you could have him cameo in your videos. So, again, I'm thinking Katie Hill. You should just let, we could just have you. I'm going to call Johnny Palumbo personally. I'm going to say probably, but yeah, Sora. That's a great one. So that's video and some of the more fun things we could do here. So your day is only as good as what you spend your day doing. And if you're in the creative space, nothing is less creative than spending time working on Excel spreadsheets and sorting music research and trying to get to the bottom of the TPS report that you got to generate to your boss. So I want to talk about workflows and things we can do to make that part of it less sucky so you can focus on the things that truly move the needle. If you're not a computer science major and not into writing code, how I really got hooked into trying to fix workflow problems was using Make.com. Make is a really no-code, low-code automation tool where you can literally tell it, hey, I need you to do these specific things. For example, here is the music history element I showed you a few minutes ago with the prompted scripts. I wanted it to go in, read my scripts, send the script to 11 Labs, return me back a final product that was ready for the air. So I said, look at the Google Sheet that had all this stuff in it. Convert each one of those lines of the Google Sheet into a document. Clean it up and make it look like it belongs on the radio station. And optimize it for 11 Labs, text-to-speech. Then those scripts got fed into 11 Labs, cut down into each individual piece. Because, my God, I don't want to sit in Adobe Audition and slice up 100 pieces of this VO. Put it in my Dropbox and send it to me when you're done. Literally, I prompted for it. I got the workflow, hit start, got the output back in my deal. So think about, you're doing artist interviews or you're trying to quickly get something going. And I believe Make has a free and a paid version. Paid version is very, very cheap, a couple bucks a month, and off you go. Same thing goes with the 80s Factor Fiction example here too. Same thing, different results. Very interesting way to get jumped into making your workflow easy. Otter AI, again, call your legal department, depends on who you work for, but we can also apply Zoom and Google Meets built-in stuff here too. Who sits on a lot of Zoom calls? Nate does, I do, Skylar and Joey, I know y'all do. Zoom calls suck because we're on them all day, and after a while you get Zoom fatigue and you don't like to write down what goes on. And sometimes you're on a call where you're working on a very important project and you need to absolutely make sure, Brad, that we've got all the right things from your team and we're ready to rock and roll. These transcription agents are phenomenal because you can get the key takeaways and then you can scale them down and go, this team needs to do those certain things. We said this thing in that event or whatever, and nobody's left going, I can't read my handwriting. My handwriting sucks, and I make scribbles, and I go back to the So, depends on what your company's policy is. Otter is the OG, Zoom, Google Meet for making your workflows better. Airtable AI is interesting too because it's very flexible and allows you to manage projects in a variety of ways. And I've seen a couple of ways folks have used it. There's smart databases, smart insights. I actually have seen this being used with facilities management in our organization to where you can say, here's all the things you need to know about this facility and the contracts and all that. But I've seen promo people use this to track assets and move things around here as well. It's great for tracking airplay and promos as well if you're trying to keep an eye on all of it in one contained deal. I'm going to use Gemini because some people might think Gemini is just like the chat agent or whatever, but it's, if you're a Google house, we are at Odyssey, or you're personally using Gemini in your Google account for Gmail or whatever, you can use this tool to truly optimize your schedule, your inbox. You can take great meeting notes. You can create takeaways. You can even reference your company's G Drive. For example, you can scan your entire G Drive in the organization that have your items publicly shared and say, hey, I need to know what is the policy on document retention, or what is our policy on having a weird contest, and you could get back chat answers based on the information and documentation specifically for your organization. I also really appreciate it because I use it to optimize my daily schedule. I'll say, Gemini, go in here, find the best available times so Suzanne Wolf and I can meet about getting Katie Neal affiliates turned on the air, right? Gemini's really where it's at. It's all baked into one deal. I want to go back to the OG because Google is starting to do this as well. But Grammarly, I feel, has made me not sound like a complete a-hole to people in meetings. And I'll say, one of our, it's hard. It is hard. Katie Ive from our public relations department, I'll never forget when I first got this role at Odyssey, she goes, I'll put you with Grammarly. And I said, yeah, she goes, this is going to save your bacon. So in my example, I'm writing an email to our dear friend Tim Roberts. The subject line is, per my last email, Tim, I hope this email doesn't find you well. I just wanted to drop you a line and say, perhaps you should consider rolling up that idea real tight and show where the sun don't shine. Signed, Clay Walker, Vice President of Content Operations at Odyssey, and at the very bottom it says, hey, buddy, I don't think that's a good tone. And if that's what you want to do to Tim, cool. I don't think that's really good. And he'll say, here's some suggestions. Just chill out a minute, take a breath, and maybe you'll accept these changes. Just say, yeah, it's cool. Because I don't think Tim's going to like that. Yeah, but Grammarly, you don't know Tim like I do. No, Clay, I do, because I'm AI and I know it all. Grammarly will make you a better writer. And it's not just for email, right? It's for documents, it's for everything, to make sure that you don't sound like a moron when you're trying to have try to look at corporate America. So check out Grammarly, and rock and roll from there. So here's my final thoughts, right? AI, and I'm going to have a bonus round after final thoughts. You all are wanted down for it if I've got a couple of seconds left. AI isn't going to replace radio people. We talked about this last year. I was fortunate enough to be in the AI Curious panel, and we were all talking about the doom and gloom of AI and the fear of it taking jobs. AI itself isn't going to replace radio people, but radio people using AI, they're the ones that are going to replace the ones who aren't, okay? So this is a skill. If you don't have it, you need it. You need to find a way to go feet first into this and really embrace it to make yourself better, stronger, faster, and all of those things. So I can bonus round, or I could ask any questions in the time we have left.
Bonus round.
Bonus round. Okay. How about slides? Is that cool? Because not only do I hate spreadsheets and Zoom calls, making slide decks is right there at the top. And I'm going to admit, just like the last speaker, I had AI help me make my slide decks. That's a lot of work. All right, here we go. Some things to make your AI days, your day better using AI. And this will be in the takeaway notes with the CRS app. Number one, build your own back in the day, behind the song, or other quick feature. You prompt it, like I showed you earlier in ChatGPT. Build the script, drop it in 11 Labs, get your voiceover, edit it for air in Wondercraft. Those are all tools that we've shared in the earlier part of the deck. 2, start a new radio show, syndicate it using Radio Cloud. Target your affiliate markets. No more one-size-fits-all content. Create a music log with slots for affiliate markets. National voice tracks with locally focused tracks automatically inserted and appropriate for the station affiliates. Lead-ins, tags going into voice tracks make it sound like you belong on that radio station. Number 3, take your weekly programming meeting to the next level. Help your talent stay on target using Otter AI, Zoom, meeting AI translation, or Zoom notes, the Google agent as well. Say keywords in the meeting, during that meeting, and say key takeaways include, or here are some things you want to do on the next show So the transcription picks up on what's shaken and is able to give you bullets at the end of the deal. The post-meeting notes will have it all lined out, takeaways you can hand right over to the staff, or as we do, we have automatically email at the end. There is no secrets. You were in the meeting. I'm going to give you the notes automatically at the end of the deal, and the recording if you've got to go back and see what's going on. This is a really cool one, and this is on the cusp of what radio probably could be doing more of. We are in markets that have a lot of bilingual audiences and a lot of people that we aren't reaching right now. So reach new bilingual listeners with your social videos, starting there first. Use 11 Labs dubbing engine. We'll take Katie Neal's Kane Brown interview and upload it, and we'll dub you in Spanish. Because there are Spanish-speaking country music fans. And you can do this till the cows come home. 11 Labs is incredible with that. I will also say this because I do now work with technology and technology support people. We are overwhelmed with supporting teams. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of things that maybe the power button wasn't pressed in the studio or the computer wasn't on, right? Like there are things that, little basic things that you don't want to waste the trouble taking on, and you may not want to burn equity with our 24/7 Network Operations Center over something along those lines. So make your own tech support. We have uploaded complex manuals, and Brad from Wide Orbit, Nate, RCS, we've fed all that stuff into Google, and that way you've got an engine you could talk to. You can say, hey, Gemini, how do I handle daylight savings time with wide load automation for radio? How do I make sure that my logs are coming out correctly? Why are my A's stacking? I don't know why my A's are stacking. That saves us trouble tickets and time for everybody's support teams, mine at Odyssey and everybody at a software vendor in the room today. And also, it helps you probably save a little face so you don't have to put in a damn trouble ticket, because those are the worst. I know Chris Michaels back there knows it, because yeah, I get it for sure. Those are 5 really quick ways for you to do something with AI today. I really appreciate everybody coming out, and a great crowd, in spite of Jelly being here. You know how to make a guy feel good. So thank you all for coming to CRS and coming out and hanging out with us.